This is the podcast where you get some useful information about running mixed in with a lot of useless chat about the lives of 3 runners.
Hang on. Useless chat. I was once told that I would never run again, Sarah. Have I ever told you that?
Yeah.
Just once or twice?
Yeah.
We are here to inspire.
Is that what you think you're doing? You're inspiring.
Trying.
Well, also, tough one, Sarah. I think I was, after 2 Olympic Games and 10, 15 years as a Olympic athlete, I hated running. Never thought I'd have a place in running again, but I'm genuinely loving training for a different distance. Well, I say loving, I'm loving some of it and sharing that with you guys and the people who are listening here. So maybe it's just you that's got useless chat.
Whoa, shots fired. Well, actually, I just aim to show anyone that if you turn up and keep turning up, you can get better. I started running in 2017, could barely finish a 5K, but this year I've broken 20 minutes and now I've set even scarier goals. That was quite a serious intro for us.
It was quite serious. Where are you at the moment with that 20-minute number?
I have broken it, but that was Sarah earlier this year.
We moved on.
And yeah, Sarah's now is very much in the off season of, I like to think that I could go out and do that at the drop of the hat, but I did it. Yeah,
you did it this year.
It's on
anyway,
Strava.
shall we talk about whether you should train with a running watch or not?
I bet you've got some thoughts.
If I could work it.
Right, before we dive into watches, it is 6 days to go until Valencia Marathon.
I kind of knew
feelings?
that. I knew that, but then when you've said that out loud,
Yeah.
that's a bit scary.
There's
So it's
nothing
Monday.
else you can do. You're in the taper. No more training is really going to have an effect. How does that feel?
It feels great, Sarah. I've done all I
Do
can
you
do.
like tapering?
No.
Because how long would you
I don't
taper?
really like any of it, Rick.
Like
Are you
for the
serious?
I just hate it all. For the Olympics, how long would you taper for?
No,
Would you
tapering,
really taper?
not very much at all. Yeah.
So is that quite something to get used to?
I think the big thing that changed I didn't do is sort of my long runs in the final 2 weeks, say, before the Olympics.
Fine.
But I still train pretty hard on the track and you still do what you'd consider pretty tough workouts, but the volume was very low.
You're right.
So sort of similar. But we did a workout last Wednesday, so that would have been with 10 days to go, which we filmed and we were able to see after Valencia, which was really exciting. But what's different, that was effectively like, I had a 2 or 3 mile warm up and 2 or 3 mile warm down. And in the middle was this 10 mile, 16K block, which we should talk about in a minute because I got some notes of some stuff that you said to me afterwards. But that was 10 miles quite fast, alternating different paces. And then I did 10 miles as my last long run on Sunday with a week to go until Valencia. Much slower, felt horrendous.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
No.
I
But then
suppose
that's
that's normal,
good, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's normal,
Because
but-
the workout that you did do, you were kind of dancing around marathon pace. So that's
most
good
of
that
was
it felt
faster,
better.
Yeah, and that was with, so last week's guest, my coach, Andy Hobdell. And
I know him.
brilliant.
It's almost like you went to a wedding
Yeah.
with him where you were both groomsmen.
Great entertainment.
Oh, sorry, you were a page boy because it was Andy's wedding.
Yeah. You were very young. So we went and trained with Andy and his group on Wednesday last week. And I believe there's a question from me later on that's related to this, which I haven't seen, but you're both giggling about. So we'll come to that. But we were training in Southwest London. And afterwards, what was interesting, because I trained with 2 of Andy's female athletes, Sarah Aston, who's training for her first marathon in Seville in 2026, and India Weir, who's not training for the marathon, but was doing some longer stuff with us.
Yeah, the point of the workout as well was to get you in with his elite group.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy it at the start of the workout, just as you're warming up for big session, doing some stretches. He just turned to you and you went, well, I couldn't have got any of the boys down. They would have dropped you in the first K.
Yeah, he did do. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. It was so much fun though, and a couple of things. Training with that group. What happened? What was the format? Warm up and then. So we did a warm up
Warm
jog.
down.
No, warm up.
Oh, lots of faffing.
Yeah, you loved that, didn't you?
So much faffing. I mean, it was quite good because me and the videographer Nat were also faffing around with miking you guys up, making sure that we weren't weighing you down in the workout. But so much faffing.
What I meant was,
faffing.
what I was looking for you to identify was that we did a warm up and then we did our drills and activations and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we changed our shoes.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, that,
And it's not just
that
me.
was a huge part of the faffing.
Yeah.
I still don't get all the shoe changing. Jess from the running channel does that all the time. She rocks up at kind of a 5K filming day or something and has 4 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Why do you need 4 pairs of shoes?
She's got her driving shoes.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
she's
exactly.
got her running shoes.
Yeah.
So we did that, but then afterwards you were like quite, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were quite excited about, I think you said to me you found it quite inspirational, not my part in it. But
it was so cool to be able to see like up close and female athletes who are just like another level, like up close working. Like you see, it's a very different experience to seeing like people on the track running really fast, because there's no kind of like human context. So to be able to cycle alongside a female athlete who's you were alternating between what, like 4:10s and
3:45
and 3:45
kilometre, yeah.
But for 10 miles, they were alternating between those paces. And they honestly, they were barely, it was hard. And they were saying like, oh, okay, it's quite challenging, but you were still just chatting away. And like,
At 3:45 a kilometre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally just having a casual chat, and we could like ask them questions, and that for me was genuinely
Did you have an oxygen
so cool.
tank?
Yeah,
so Sarah
we were
and
just blowing air.
Yeah,
off the
Sarah
back
and
of the
India were
bike.
much more comfortable chatting at the fast paces than I was. I was
Yeah.
able to talk, but I couldn't hold a full conversation.
No, but I mean, amazing, and I feel like that made the workout go so much quicker for all of you as well.
Oh yeah, I said at the time I'm a 50% better runner with other runners, and like they just pulled me up to their level, and that was the amazing thing. I'd missed that, like training in that environment where there's that expectation, and actually like it was really good natured and there was good chat on the warm up and stuff. But then once we were into it, it was business, and I just felt like I enjoyed that, and it also was nice getting back to the environment I used to live and train in South West London for my whole career. So being on the paths that I had run on and stuff was like a real nice run down memory lane. And having Andy as well, you got to listen to it, but his main job, his main intervention is kind of just to, take the mickey, but also just to distract you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've done 10 miles.
You can see his expertise though, because there was one section where he was like, are we going a bit fast? And I don't think he just looked at the way that you were running, and then all of you looked down and you were like, oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
We're running at 4-minute Ks. That's not a pace we should be doing.
What happens to me, and it's the opposite to what you'd think, but whenever anyone's filming and they prompt me if I'm out on a run, like, Andy, how are you feeling about this Sunday? Or how's the workout going? Give us your splits or whatever. Then you'll be quite nice to me. You'll usually do that in my recovery points or like the floats, or when I'm running a bit easier. But I naturally speed up as I deliver it, because I think subconsciously I'm trying to compensate for the fact that I don't want to slow down and be distracted whilst I'm talking to these guys.
Yeah.
So then I speed up, and so we were chatting in one of the floats recoveries and we were going just way too fast because we just basically didn't slow down after the fast one.
Is distraction not the secret weapon for running success?
Yes, it is.
Because if you have your mind taken off it, whether you're an Olympian like Andy or you're like you and me, Sarah, just running a competitive 5 or 10K, if for just a couple of those really fast all-out Ks, you can be thinking of, my pace, or you thinking about your heart rate, or thinking about something that is not the immediate chest pain of wheezing out those kilometers.
Do you want to know what my distraction was this week?
Go on.
So happy best month of running to all who celebrate. We've got through the clocks changing, it getting darker in the UK, that being really rubbish to go out for runs. Now we are rejoiced with my favourite time to run.
Oh, I know.
Just as it gets dark, running towards all the Christmas lights. It feels so much safer. It feels so festive. There are so many streets near me where all of the houses have clubbed together and they've created some kind of light tunnel down the way.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So good. I did a whole run yesterday just running towards shiny things. I was like a crow.
I didn't know where that was going to go. That's interesting. I've not really thought about that. I'm looking forward to a little bit of downtime after Valencia, so I've sort of just been head down trying to get through these last few months.
Do a Christmas light run. And do you know what else I'm excited for a run in the daylight? So the village that I live in has a free magazine that gets posted through all the doors.
Nice.
It's incredible. And I was flicking through it because it arrived last week. And
We got one of those in North London with the crime stats.
We get the crime stats, which to be fair, for such a small village, some of the crime stats, I'm like, how many? Because it's per month. And there are some where I'm like, surely there can't have been that many crimes. The last one.
Like October the 2nd, Sarah Hartley, crimes against fashion.
Rude. But in the village, they've done a window advent, I think they're calling it. So they've like called out for lots of people to have their windows decorated, and then they've listed all of the roads and all of the numbers of houses. So I'm gonna fun run for anyone who's lacking motivation. Find something like that that's in your area, or Google if there are any charity Christmas light houses. Plan a route on Garmin Connect or Strava, and then you've got your whole run.
So is that a village town Advent, as in you could just go and knock on door 24 on Christmas Eve and open it up and little baby Jesus is inside?
No, I think you just run past.
Oh,
I think
okay.
they
You can't actually knock and
actively
run.
discourage knocking.
Yeah. But then it's that. So this was one of my notes, weirdly. What's happened to Advent calendars? So the level of expectation for my children this morning, we're recording on the 1st of December, was off the scale. When I was a child, you got a flat piece of card that from the same one every year.
Yeah.
And you just opened it, door one.
I didn't even get a bit of
door.
I'm sorry, a flat bit of card.
There's nothing behind the door other than the picture.
I had one of the material ones the whole time growing. So it was exactly the same calendar every single year.
Yeah.
And I'd get like a Werther's original.
Oh, you got something in it though.
Yeah.
Mine was literally just a door with biblical scenes behind it.
Yeah.
Biblical scenes.
Yeah, I know the one.
Do you know now you can get a 7-foot advent calendar from Costco?
Right.
What is wrong with the world?
I think Chantal has that. I have a low maintenance wife. Right.
What?
Definitely low maintenance. But my God, she is high maintenance with advent calendars. She said to me, I said, which one do you want? Just getting the kids kind of one for £2 or £3 or something. She goes, I'd like a Tony's. Like,
Tony's chocolate.
Tony's chocolate.
Other brands of chocolate are available.
It is about the height of you, Sarah.
Really? See, but at least she's not going down that I want a beauty one or I want a jewellery one. Because if you've seen, I went shopping in Covent Garden at the weekend.
Jewellery?
You can get a whole candle one and they cost £200.
All right,
but then if you get that on the 1st of December, that for me would be like, right, Christmas presents done. That's it.
So we
and for next year as well.
Each of our children has like a beautiful handmade fabric advent calendar with pockets and stuff.
They each have one.
Yeah.
Where?
My wonderful wife has sewn them from...
Is your entire house advent calendars? Do they go up the stairs?
They do go up the stairs.
You've wallpapered your house.
They do go up the stairs. They go up the banister. Yeah.
Why didn't she just make larger pockets? That's what I had.
Yeah.
Me, my mum and my dad, we had one advent calendar, 3 sweets in each pocket.
We used to only use one and then it just got messy.
Right.
Because they'd eat either other's chocolates before the other one got there. So so now they have their own protected pockets.
So rather than teaching them sharing, we decided to just sew and sew and sew.
Well, I'll let you decide in the future, Sarah, just how easy it is to parent one's children to share. And
I won't have 15.
They've been getting like an individual sweet that they like, plus each day they're getting a different piece of origami.
Origami.
Sorry,
Yeah.
they're getting a piece of origami.
Yeah. So this morning they each got one single square of red paper.
That is the most ridiculous. They get a single square of red paper.
Yeah, and instructions on how to make a Santa hat out of that piece of paper. They're loving life. Hey, they were excited. Don't laugh at my children.
Sorry, has the elf come back as well?
Yes, the elf is back this morning.
Do you celebrate Christmas past every year?
What?
Now,
Is it a
children,
Scrooge thing?
we shall all sit down with our singular piece of red paper.
In central Bedfordshire. Is it always Christmas in 1868?
Fold and fold.
It was very wholesome this morning at the breakfast table. We were all folding Christmas hats.
Can I bring it back to running and numbers?
Please do.
Have you realised, right, how your park run finishing number is kind of dictated by the weather? I finished 30 something at the weekend.
Where do you normally finish?
I'd say between 50 and 60.
Oh,
Okay.
Saturday
And did you run any
was
faster this
really
time?
wet.
No.
Did you run slower?
I just ran normal pace.
Normal pace,
Wow.
right.
But I finished 36th. And then I just thought, I'll go with my results and have a look. And I thought I could tell the weather on kind of like the 16th of September 2018 because I finished 30 something that day.
It was raining that day, was it?
Chucking it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
there was
aren't
about
you a
200
diligent
people.
little
There was about
park
200
runner?
people. And then so I put that on Instagram at the weekend. And so many people messaged me, including a guy who I used to go to school with, who said, I won my park run at the weekend with a very similar time to what I did. And you and I, Sarah, were talking about a few weeks ago that we'll never, ever have that feeling of winning something when it comes to running. Unless
you go out in the hail.
In the hail, the wind, to kind of like a remote Yorkshire park run, and you might win it.
I have one, first female park
really?
run.
Where was
that? March in Cambridgeshire.
Lovely. And
Overtook a 9-year-old to take the win. No shame.
regardless of weather, are both of you wearing your watch to record your parkrun data?
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent segue.
Thanks.
So let's talk about, should you always train with a running watch? What positives do they bring? What negatives do they bring? Also, a little plug, this week's extra episode for our club podcast listeners was all about running through winter.
Yes.
So I would say one of the biggest challenges for running with your watch in the winter is if you don't own loads of tops that have the little watch holes in.
Yeah. It's a very first world problem, this, isn't it?
That is a very first world problem, but my hands get so cold.
Yeah,
and I'm very much a pull sleeve over hand.
Yes.
So I very much value all of my running tops where I can see my screen through my sleeve.
I was going to say, I ran in a very lightweight running jacket yesterday on Sunday. It was beautiful, clear, sunny day, but when I woke up, it was 1 degree, feels like -4.
Nice.
And yeah, I can see my watch through the sleeve.
That
without
is a
hole,
win.
which is pretty cool.
But if you want more winter running tips, go check out that extra episode. But do you always wear/train with your watches, guys?
Is the answer pretty simply that you are going to get enormous amounts of benefit by training with a running watch? You're going to get accurate pacing. You're going to get structured workouts. You're going to get your data over time. And it's not the main problem with doing it is that you become overly reliant on that data. And therefore you develop mental fatigue because you're just like, I'm just all about the numbers now. And I've stopped actually the enjoyment of running.
Yeah, what was interesting last week's episode when we had Andy Hobdell, my coach, on, he was saying that in some workouts, he'd have said to me in my training group, okay, give me your watches. Because he didn't want us to be, and we weren't running with GPS watches. We were running with like regular old Casios or whatever.
Compasses.
Yeah, compasses. I was just using a sundial at the end of every, I used to take a...
It was a shame you had the one that was attached to a bird feeder, but you made do.
I just used to take a stake and just hammer it into the ground and then just make marks on the ground and watch the sun go past.
Lovely.
But we all did know if you're on the track, obviously we knew exactly how far we were running, so you didn't need GPS.
Yeah.
And then if we were out we used to do lots of running around Bushy Park, again in southwest London, and we all knew exactly where every 400 metres was on this particular section of the path. So you'd look at your watch to clock your splits, even on a steady run.
Right.
But most of the time, I just ran similar routes, and if it was a bad day, I'd be 5 minutes slower than if it was a good day on my easy runs, and I didn't really care how fast I was running because I didn't have the live pace and heart rate and all that sort of stuff.
I think there's a lot to be said for watches are incredible, but you have to still learn how to run to feel, which you can't do without your watch. But equally, you need to be able to use your watch in order to inform running to feel. Because I think race day is an important factor to talk about. Because if you spend your entire training block where, as we always say, you need to train at paces above, below, on race pace.
Yeah.
You need to be able to feel what those different paces are, because if you're training for a 5K marathon, doesn't really matter what it is, you can't be looking at your watch the entire time. So you need to be able to feel that pace, and then your watch kind of reinforces the numbers that you want to be hitting. But it's not like on a car where you can, well, even in a car, you can't constantly have your eye on the speedo.
Yeah, I think I agree completely. I think maybe we should just finish it there. That's the end of this section.
Done.
No, but I think
day.
Absolutely you should be the one leading the watch and using the watch rather than like having your every moment dictated to you by what the watch tells you. And I think the single most important thing for any runner, if they want to be successful, in my mind, is learning to run to feel. And what that means is exactly what you're saying. It's like you should be able to, obviously you feel different on different days, and if it's cold and windy and all that sort of stuff, that affects it. But if every other given factor is the same, you should be able to go out and just be like, right, I'm going to run 6-minute Ks right now.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to run 5-minute Ks.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to run my marathon pace.
And
or I'm
hopefully
going to run my 10K
it should
pace.
become easier if you're in a training block, because like you say, at any point in the year, it might feel a bit different. But say your 6-minute kilometers is your race pace, then as you go through the block, you need to come back and be like, okay, this feels like race pace.
Yeah.
And it feels slightly easier today. And then you might look down at your watch and be like, oh, I'm a bit faster.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
race pace is feeling better.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, is to be able to dial into that pace as quickly as you can and not overcook it, and also not undercook it. Like if you set yourself an ambitious goal and you're doing a 12-week or however long training plan, and you think you're running at 5K pace, and you have this target to run, say, 20-minute 5K pace.
Yeah.
But if during that period you'd been knocking out all of your reps at 5K pace, but they're at 4:15 per kilometre, but you didn't realise, but you thought that they were fast enough, then you're going to, that's going to be impossible on race day. And often Andy will set me training sessions which are like, run at 10K intensity. And he very, because sometimes he'll say run at, 3:30 per kilometre, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But then other times he'll say run at 10K intensity. The difference being that he's like, run at what feels like 10K pace. Runs at what feels like the pace at which you could run 10K or 35 minutes, whatever.
Yeah. And if you've never done that before, then it might feel really weird, because I have that. So a lot of the training sessions that I do with my running club are not flat at all. I think I've done one session since April that was just flat. And so a lot of it is like run at half marathon intensity or 10K intensity, which really takes a lot of learning to feel if you have been glued to the numbers for a long time and you go like, okay, my 10K PB is this is my 10K pace, off we go. But actually in some sessions that can feel really hard.
If you haven't got a watch on and you're not recording it, then you'll never know if you were accurate if you were trying to run at a 10K pace.
True.
So you need to be wearing it to actually figure it out. What I did a few times when Andy just plugged in a training plan into my diary was I put it on the map page. So
you couldn't see how fast you were running.
see how fast I was running until I finished, and then I stopped it, and then I went, well, I ran to feel, but without the constant updates.
Yeah, and I think we've done some really cool challenges on the running channel on YouTube where each of us or various presenters on the channel have been set the challenge of like run a 5K without, run 5K without looking at your watch, stop after 5K.
Yeah.
Stop after 10K, stop after a marathon.
Yeah.
And that like...
I got the 1K one, don't know why.
Do you find... Brilliant.
We still need to do the ultra marathon
Won that.
But do you know, if you look at screen time on your phone, it shows you how many pickups you have during the day.
That's depressing.
Yeah, it's really depressing. But I think that we're also conditioned to do the same thing with watches. So I've found when we've done these challenges that even though my watch is covered up by a buff, or like I've deliberately got a sleeve over it, or I've got it on the map screen, like you say, I'll glance and I'll do the movement with my arm to check it in the same way as you might like get a bit bored on the train and just take your phone out even though you've got no signal and check it. Like it's a habit that's ingrained.
But then the stats to look at afterwards are so useful. I also use like the heart rate screen I think putting it onto a screen to like make yourself learn other bits of data is quite useful.
The pulse ox.
Pulse ox.
Well, you see,
it tells you've got the pulse of a cheetah.
No.
You wanted to ask us about your HRV. Is that right, Rick?
Heart rate variable.
Variability.
Yes, variability. Yeah. So obviously the heart rate is useful, but if like me, you just run in zone 5 permanently.
Is that what happens? Is that what your watch tells you?
Well,
that's not heart rate variability.
No, it's not.
That's just your heart rate.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you were right to check that, Sarah. He looked at us like we're idiots then for querying that he didn't know the difference.
I'm 80%, so 5K at the weekend.
Yeah.
80% in zone 5, 14% in zone 4.
That is ridiculous.
And
well, no, 5K. I'd say 5K. That's right. But if you were going hard,
but he does that every weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
What did you run?
23 minutes ish.
Oh, fine. Yeah, so you're like
PB,
right around
like,
PB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the person where if someone asks what your 5K PB is, you literally could bash it out at the drop of a hat.
No, I was about a minute off PB.
Yeah, but your PB is on a flat course and this was on
true.
Hellsfire.
Yeah, Hellsfire, yeah.
So I think, you are going hard. So that's not so crazy.
Is that normal then? 80% in zone 5?
Yeah.
The way that you run parkrun, yes.
Yeah.
I would say.
Okay.
Because you're
broken by the first hill.
Yeah.
So then you are just in zone 5.
You just go max and then hold it for as long as you can and then slow down a bit.
What did you want to ask us about?
Very accurate.
Yeah.
So how do I switch this into heart rate variability?
No.
It's a totally different measure. It's a totally different measure of... Oh my goodness.
Right, so go back.
Why do you want to switch it to heart rate?
Because I understand the difference, but I don't know how...
But you don't need heart rate variability in a run. Heart rate variability is like a life.
It's like a holistic.
Yeah, no, I get that. So how do I...
Right, so go back.
Okay.
This is honestly like teaching your granddad how to use something.
Because this will be boring.
Tell me after.
Yeah. So on your menu screen, you'll be able to find HRV. Just for anyone who hasn't used HRV, I think this is the single most reason to convince anyone to wear your watch at all times.
Yes.
So heart rate variability measures the distance between your heartbeats. You might think that you want that to be as like nice and even as possible, but actually you want lots of variability because that means your heart is more adaptable to different situations is how I think of it. Whereas
Yeah.
if it the more kind of even it becomes, the more your body is kind of going into panic mode and just trying to keep everything level, so you can't
Yeah, the lower
kind of raise your heart rate.
the lower the variability in beat time between your heartbeats, the worse your overall health is likely to be in terms of stress levels.
Yeah, it's a fitness
and potentially
stat, isn't
being
it?
run.
Isn't it more of a general
It's
fitness
just
stat?
general life stats. So it's
Yeah.
taking into account sleep, stress, exercise,
like overall
and
fatigue.
it can,
Yeah.
and you want
So
to
overall
be
wellness then.
Yeah, and you're wanting to hit somewhere in the middle, which means your HRV
Yeah.
is balanced, but it can be in the red zone at either end. So either because say you've been really, really active and then maybe you get injured and you just stop all exercise, then it might go into the red at one end. Because
I'm actually not sure what causes heart rate variability to be too high in that range. But yeah, generally if it's too low and will tell you it's unbalanced. Yeah, it's like you might be starting to get a little bit ill under the weather. You might just not have had enough sleep. You might be dealing with something stressful, both in terms of like the amount of running stress you're putting your body through, but also like just the life stress of children or work or
Right. So there are no stupid questions. No stupid questions here.
No.
Right. So that is heart rate variability, general life health picture.
Yeah.
That's where you're at. Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, do your heart rate zones on a run, your different colors, your reds and do they change if you plug in your heart rate variability into your watch?
What do you mean plug in?
So
Let's just get him to elaborate.
No, this is a really simple question. So my heart rate zones, so 80% in zone 5 on an all-out 5K.
You're really concerned about this.
No, you're concerned.
No, you're really concerned.
No, I'm querying
Right.
if that will change if I input the heart rate variability data into
He's
my
not
watch.
a million miles off though. Just to give him some percentage of being correct. Say your HRV was incredibly unbalanced. Maybe the kids had woken you up really early, you had one too many gavies and then you didn't get enough sleep.
Standard Friday.
Really stressful time at work, whatever. Then you go out and run a 5K. It might be that sometimes when you're running a 5K and you're a minute off of your PB, you're actually more half in zone 4, half in zone 5. If your HRV is really, really unbalanced, it might be that you shot up into zone 5 because you're feeling really tired and run down, and running that pace feels much harder.
Yes, it won't directly affect the heart rate zones. Your heart rate zones are set by you in your in your phone, in your app, in your case in Garmin Connect, but then it'll affect the amount of time that you spend in each heart rate zone, based on how fit and healthy you feel. And it could usually, in my experience, I'm not a medical professional, just disclaimer, but what I used to experience was that this was most prevalent for me when I tried to do a threshold or a tempo run. I would find that if I was like just a bit over fatigued, a little bit tired, then I'd go into that tempo and threshold run, whatever it was, and my heart rate would be much higher than I was expecting.
Okay.
And that can also happen with heat and all the rest of it. But a little bit of fatigue, I'd be like, oh, wow, my heart rate's way higher than I'd expect for this pace. So I'd spend longer in zone 4 or 5, for example. But then if I'd gone beyond that and I was almost like overtraining or had started to get ill but didn't realize it, what I'd find is I'd go to a threshold run, and even actually running quite fast how I normally would, my heart rate just wouldn't come up. So I might be in zone 3, and that was my body telling me like, I don't want you to do this. You shouldn't exert yourself. And that would probably have been borne out in HRV data, which we didn't have in the 60s when I was running.
That's so interesting.
Does that help?
Yes.
So should we do a quick little summary then on running with a watch? Can be incredibly beneficial because it can give you lots of stats. It can help you in your daily life if you're wearing it all the time and to sleep as well.
Yeah, that would be my summary. I think if you want to get the most of the data insights and you want to analyze runs after the fact and look at your whole picture of training and health, then just wearing it selectively for 1 or 2 runs a week isn't going to give you that.
It's got to be glued to your wrist.
But you don't need to look at it all the time.
Yeah, equally, that's the watch out. Don't become too fixated on the watch stats. Test yourself. Can you go out for a run, just look at heart rate or just look at the map, run to feel? Can you hit some of your race paces to feel and then use your watch to kind of check and correct yourself?
Like your watch is the verifier. That's your backup to make
your watch is the adjudicator.
Yeah.
Because I do think, like, is it possible to run without a watch? Yes, absolutely. It is a training tool in the same way as everything else in life improves and gets better and new inventions are made. It tells you incredible things about your life, your health, your running.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to do some stuff by yourself too.
That's the skill. That's the skill of becoming a better runner. Is don't become over reliant on a coach or the watch. You got to take some accountability of what you do, and you've got to learn the skill of pacing. That's the biggest single thing in running.
Is a race predictor time on your watch pessimistic or optimistic?
Oh, this is actually a really good segue into some news.
There is. Shall I tell you right now what my watch? So shall I do this? This is a risky one. Do you want to know what my Valencia prediction is?
Yeah, let's do this live. Ooh.
Oh,
can you get your prediction up for a marathon as well? You don't know how.
Don't know. Okay, so I've got Valencia programmed in as a race event in my watch, which says 6 days to go. Thanks very much. Tells me it's going to be 12 degrees at 9 o'clock in Central European time on Sunday for race day. That sounds perfect to me.
That's clever.
Okay, and you can see on my screen, I'm going to show this to Rick.
Oh my gosh, does it use the weather to do the prediction as well?
I think it must, because if I was going to go and do my marathon in like the Sahara Desert, it was going to be 40 degrees. I'm sure it will take that into account. So my current predicted time on Sunday is 2 hours, 47 minutes and 33 seconds.
Is that optimistic or pessimistic?
2 hours.
47:33.
That's not.
Andy?
I mean, I will be very happy if I run that. That'll be a 5-minute personal best.
So this backs up my theory that everybody I ask this question to suggests their watch is more confident about their ability than they are.
Do you want to know Rick's?
Marathon projection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your watch thinks you can do a marathon in 4 hours, 24 minutes and 22 seconds.
See, I'd say that's potentially
About right.
But actually, this is breaking my argument.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit pessimistic.
Oh, so you think you can out?
Really?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah,
Rick.
Maybe.
he wants
I'm
5 past
not
4.
saying that in a.
Yeah, but right
I think
now,
what I can do.
that's not-
But that's right now.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Yeah, that's go and run a marathon.
That's
isn't it?
that's
Yeah.
based off like no
No
training.
Yeah.
Well, should we wrap this up and then go into the news, because there's a directly relevant piece of news about this.
Yeah. So Valencia Marathon's coming up. And Alex
all the
Yee
cool kids are doing it.
All the cool kids are doing
Yeah.
it. Tom Evans, who won UTMB earlier
This is
this year.
fascinating. I hadn't realised this until he told me that he's doing it.
Yeah. So I follow him on Strava. His training looks amazing.
That transition's got to be so...
Yeah, from running 100 miles through the mountains
For
to
20
running
hours.
26
Yeah.
miles on the flat. Alex Yee is also lining up after taking on London Marathon earlier this year.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So, Olympic triathlon gold medalist, and he ran his debut in 2:11. The reason that we popped this in here is because there was a news story talking about his watch prediction, and his watch prediction said 2:05:46.
My
Which would be
gosh.
rapid. Most like elite males are looking for
Yeah.
anything like around 2:08 at the moment to like qualify for stuff. So,
Yeah, I think that's when you're competitive in any big city marathon, really.
Yeah.
As a British athlete, that's putting you up there in the all-time ranks. I actually I'm sure Mo Farah's British record is 2:05 something.
nice.
So yeah, that kind of, I think I'd love to see that. Imagine the top 2 British performances, because we're coming to the end of 2026, right? 2025. Imagine we end up with the top 2 British marathon performances being by Alex Yee, a triathlete, and Tom Evans,
Ultra
ultra running.
Yeah, what
trail
does that
athlete.
say?
I mean, it shows
I
that
can't see
maybe
that.
you need a bit of
That'd
cross
be
training.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Compared to, and you've got, these incredible athletes that are out there on the roads week in, week out. So I just think it's fascinating seeing how the different physiologies come together.
Yeah.
And mindset. If you can do something for 20 hours, 2 hours and a bit must feel like a piece of cake for Tom Evans.
Just a little afternoon jog, just quite fast. Shanghai Marathon was also last weekend, which is the next candidate for World Marathon Majors. You got a little pair of sliders in your finish bag, which I thought was quite cool, which said like official candidate for the World Marathon Majors.
I'd quite like to get some sliders at the end of the race this Sunday.
Hang on, sliders. That's a snack.
No, not burgers.
Not the burgers that we had in Budapest, which I still think about to this day.
Flip-flops that don't go between your toes. Sliders.
Andy loves a slider.
I do.
Should we just quickly touch
that
on
definitely didn't come to my mum when you said it. Carry on.
to your mum?
My mind.
Okay.
Quickly touch on Spencer Matthews 7 in 7 as well. This is the logistics behind this are absolutely boggling, and Chris Taylor, friend of the Running Channel, is doing all of the logistics for this challenge. So Spencer is taking on 7 full Ironmans, which I can't remember the full stats, but it's something along the lines of a long swim, at least 3K. It's like 180K on a
it's 2 and
bike,
a bit mile swim.
and then a full marathon.
Yeah. what's interesting, just like this is a thing like Hoover. Ironman's not what it's called. Ironman's the brand. So Ironman is like one version of it.
Oh yeah, sorry, a full distance
it's called
triathlon.
a long distance. Or whatever
Long
it is,
distance triathlon.
Yeah.
So he's about, as we record this, to take on number 7 on the 7th continent, which will be in Antarctica.
God.
And he's been all around the world. But yeah, the logistics of getting bikes there, of getting like safety boats, paddle boards, swimming equipment, and to do the last one in Antarctica, they're riding like the big bikes with like the fat tires.
I also imagine it's not very warm water for swimming in.
No,
it must be
probably
brutal.
quite cold.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal.
I wonder why you two think that this hasn't had the publicity that you might expect for such a grandiose challenge.
Sometimes you just don't get the publicity until afterwards. But I do think we are seeing a lot
burnout.
of...
People are tired of seeing these epic challenges.
Yeah, and
they
I don't
think,
really know...
That costs so much money and you've got to be in such a position to be able to do it.
Yeah,
I wonder whether
hard.
that's like... It's a fairly complex thing to get your head around, and obviously, logistically and so on, it would have cost a lot of money to do it. Whereas, and I'm not questioning the motivation because they're like, this is all for a good cause, right? For charity. But the idea of someone running, say, the length of Africa, like it's a very simple concept. Versus like triathlon and Ironman long distance triathlons already is quite like, not a lot of people do that. Then trying to do that on 7 different continents is like, it's so hard to get your head around what that is that maybe that's why. I don't know.
Speaking of that, did you see the news that there's a guy who set out in like the 80s to walk around the world and he's just about to come home
Yeah, I
to
did
the
see
UK?
that.
That 80 years around the world.
That picked up my interest.
27.
Actually. Yeah.
Literally mind-boggling. But yeah, I think we're seeing lots and lots of different charity challenges. And I think the thing you have to remember is all of these are raising money for such incredible causes. But I do think some with different challenges, it depends like what, like you say, what's the moment that captures people's attention. Yeah. I think with this, it will probably be, because it's such a small team, they're providing lots of updates, but I don't think it will have the like big... oh my gosh, that is insane impact until maybe like a documentary comes out about it, because then you'll see all of the like the 15-hour flights, the little, all of those bits that you just can't quite grasp in a carousel post.
And quite often they're not really a story until you've done it. Because if you just don't do it, then it's like, oh.
Which kind of makes it even harder.
I know, it's absolutely
because
brutal.
you're out there, they've been out there for like 12, 20 hours.
Well like hardest geezer running across up the length of Africa, like that made the news because of like various visa issues and him getting attacked or arrested or whatever that would. But then really it culminated in the moment of finishing. Do you remember a guy called Ross Edgley who swam around the whole circumference of the UK? And that no one really cared, I don't think, whilst he was doing it. People cared, but they didn't hear about it in the news until he finished. And the reason that they found out about it was because he like lost big chunks of his tongue or something from the salt
from
water.
The salt,
like it was really.
Oh gosh.
Or woke up. I can't remember, but he like, it was disgusting. And it was those kind of real like horror moments that's what captures the imagination, isn't it?
It's weird that's what impresses human beings, isn't it?
Yeah. I haven't got most of my tongue left.
I think
because
the human race should really take a look at itself.
Yes, we are
Be like,
hard to please.
Why is that the point? Just let the person swim round.
Yeah. Speaking of what impresses human beings, someone was very impressed with you, Andy Badley.
Ooh.
What's this? Sorry, you told me I wasn't allowed to know what the question is in advance this time. So,
hello, TRC team. Seeing as I've previously written in and been publicly shamed by Rick for not revealing my personal details, I suppose I should start by saying I'm Amy, 34 years old, and live in the London borough of Richmond near Bushy Park. Hey,
it's a lovely place to live.
Hey, Amy, I'm sorry Rick publicly
don't worry about Rick shaming
Don't
you.
worry about Rick. Rick publicly shames himself just by walking around.
Yeah.
This morning, I was sitting in a cafe on the edge of Bushy Park when who should run past the cafe window? Olympian Andy Badley.
Hey.
As an avid listener of the podcast, this really was the ultimate celebrity spot for me, and I couldn't quite believe my eyes. I spent the next 5 minutes contemplating whether I should forget the rest of my coffee and head off into the park to try and track him down so I could say hello, but came to the conclusion that would probably be pointless because he'd be long gone by now. He is an Olympian after all. And that would probably be considered as some form of stalking. Then, 5 minutes after the original sighting of Andy running into the park, I see him running out of the park and was left feeling a bit bemused that Olympian Andy Badley only went for a 5-minute run. So I suppose I'm being very nosy and simply emailing to ask, what he was up to, as I'm sure he didn't leave his gaggle of kids at home to drive down south for a 2.5 minutes out and 2.5 minutes back running Bushy Park. Andy, what were you up to?
Such a good question.
That's a good question. Should we just leave the mystery out there so no one should ever find out?
What did Andy do in the park? Well, actually, could we, just before you reveal, could we each give an option of what we think it could be?
Yes. Yeah.
Rick?
Well, Sarah might know, but Rick's got no idea.
Oh, no, as in like wrong answers only.
Okay.
Wrong answers only.
Well, Rick's answer's going to be, he's got no
It
idea.
will be wrong.
I think you were on a pickup run for one of the kids
Yeah.
at a birthday party. And when you got there, you'd got the wrong time. So you ran back to your car, which is parked outside of the park due to restrictions on parking at that time of the day.
Love it. No.
I think you were going to audition for the National Deer Impersonation Championships. And when you turned up without any horns or hair, they sent you home straight away. Didn't even make it through the first buzzer round.
Wow. I was about to try and see if I could impersonate like a deer. But I don't think they kind of.
Deers make any sound.
That's quite good, actually.
Like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's the mating call, the rutting sound.
That's the rutting sound.
Yeah.
What were you up to?
So we were.
Or were you just off for a rut yourself?
No. I mean, that's why it's only 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes out, 2.5 minutes back.
Just leave it there. Reputation in tatters. As we've talked about already, last week I was training with Andy Hobdell, Team Macau, the elite female athletes in his group.
Yeah.
They would usually train on all of the various different paths within Bushy Park, but we were filming and you're not really allowed to film in the Royal Parks. So we started our run whilst Sarah was getting the bike and the camera and stuff ready, went into Bushy Park because that's where the toilets are, went for a quick wee stop, and then ran back out of the park to then do our training session along the river from Hampton Court to Kingston.
Amy, I hope that was the glamorous answer you were looking for.
Yeah, we were doing a wee.
What was he doing? Doing a wee.
Team wee.
Also, no mention of that I was with other people because I think I was already being dropped on the warm-up here.
Oh, really?
Genuinely, they were like, I was like, oh yeah, I don't warm up this fast anymore.
Amy, thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Any more questions, send them in. podcast@therunningchannel.com. And while you're at it, if you like this podcast, do tell your friends.
Yes, please.
Drop it in a WhatsApp note to them. Just one friend, because we need you. And hopefully, at some points in your life, you need us too.
Yeah, and hit
That's
follow.
a terrible thought if someone needs us. We give absolutely nothing.
Well, hit follow or subscribe, depending on whether you're watching or listening, so that you don't miss any episodes as well. And then give us a rating, as long as it's going to be a good rating.
Yeah,
if it's not, then just quietly say to yourself, this isn't for me, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, give it to Paula's.
Oh, Rick! We can't bash other podcasts.
And we'll see you next week.
That's our
if
rating.
the lawsuit hasn't come in.
Yeah.